Hello world, Shelly here, and it's time for another episode of Concealer Fest, and today I've got a new one from Makeup Revolution. This appears to be a straight up dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Away, right down to the packaging. This is the Eye Bright Concealer. It retails for $10 for 0.1 ounce of product. Comes in 8 different shades. I've got the second and the third lightest shades here. I've got Porcelain, which is fair with pink undertone, and I've got Light, which is fair with neutral undertone. There is one lighter shade called Fair, which is fairest with yellow undertone. In the description, tired eyes? This is your makeup wake-up call. Makeup Revolution's Eye Bright Concealer has been specially formulated to target under-eye circles, offering flexible, buildable coverage with a max-level hit of vitamin C to actively treat the area as you conceal. Featuring a fluffy, flocked sponge applicator, this brightening concealer can be used to conceal blemishes, redness, and seamlessly erase the under-eye bags for an instantly brightened effect. This smooth, creamy formula blends beautifully for an undetectable finish. No retouch required. Looking at the ingredients, glycerin is way up there, which usually means a nice hydrating kind of a formula. I don't see any added fragrance. Yeah, we'll see. Let's take a look at these two shades swatched against a few others in my collection. Swatch time! First up is today's concealer from Makeup Revolution, the Eye Bright Concealer in shade Porcelain. Second is also the Eye Bright Concealer, this one in shade Light. Third up, I've got from Makeup Revolution as well, the Conceal and Hydrate in shade C3. Fourth, I've got the Wet n Wild Incognito in shade Light Beige. And last, I've got the CoverGirl True Blend Undercover in shade Porcelain. Yes, this looks just like the Charlotte Tilbury. The sponge tip on the Charlotte Tilbury is a little bit more angled. It's got more of a point to it. And this is just kind of a generic spongy tip, but same exact kind of packaging, same window showing how much product you have left. I would love to have put this side by side with the Charlotte Tilbury, which is one of my favorite concealers of life, but I already threw away my empty and I can't find my backup. Which is infuriating on a few levels, because that means I lost a brand new unopened Charlotte Tilbury concealer. But unfortunately, I can't wait any longer. I need to know, is this any good? So I'm going to use fingertips on one side, and I've got a brush for the other side. I'm going to use shade Porcelain, which is the lighter of the two that I got. Ooh, maybe too light. It blends out really nicely. I think I'm going to put a little of the light shade along with this, just to give it a little bit more match to my skin tone. This is a bit more liquidy than the Charlotte Tilbury formula. Charlotte Tilbury's is a little thicker. This one feels like a little more, almost an oily base to it. Not oily, that's not the right word, but it is more liquidy and emollient feeling. Also, I would say it does not have quite the coverage of the Charlotte Tilbury, but I'd say you're getting a nice, decent light coverage to start. Let's try the brush side. I'm gonna kind of combine them like so. There's definitely more pink in the Porcelain shade. It seems a little less clingy to dry skin with a fingertip, so I'm just gonna try and melt out some of the spots where it's clinging. I have a little bit of flaking under my eyes. What I really want to see is whether or not this has the sort of spandex effect that the Charlotte Tilbury has, because the Charlotte Tilbury kind of just smooths over lines. Like, it kind of gives this, like wearing a nice pair of Spanx for your under eye. And in this case, it doesn't really seem to be having that effect. I can still see all of my lines. I'm just going to go with a little more since it is such a liquidy formula. I feel like you can build it without it getting cakey. So let's try that. This is probably as far as we are going to get with coverage. You've seen I've put a lot of product under my eyes, and I don't think we're really getting anywhere as far as additional coverage goes. I do feel like I want to, I don't have a sponge handy. I want to take a dry sponge and just sort of make sure I don't have any excess product going on, because there is a little bit gathering into some of my lines. But like I said, I put a lot of product on there. This looks nice and hydrating. It's just not doing that smoothing thing that the Charlotte Tilbury does, and that really is the claim to fame for me. That is what makes it amazing. It's got really solid coverage, and it smooths lines. This isn't accentuating my lines, it's just that they're all still there. I can still see them all. Let's zoom in and take a look. So this does cling to the edges of dry skin if you've got any, and it is sort of, it's just kind of hanging around. Like it's not really doing anything to help smooth out my lines. It's not settling into them. It's just, you know, like I said, they're all still visible, which I'm trying to conceal some stuff, you guys. It does look very hydrating. It's a slightly dewy finish. It feels very hydrating so far. And I'd say it's a solid light coverage. Maybe your light medium coverage, but it's not super heavy on the coverage. You're not going to get a ton. I can still see dark circles kind of peeking through there, but overall, it looks nice. It looks okay. It feels very nice. It feels nice and hydrating. So we will see if that sticks around. Let me go put the rest of my face on. It is 12:27. I will be right back. So far so good with the Makeup Revolution Bright Eyes. I have had to tap it out of settling into my lines just a little bit. So when I set my face with powder, I took what was left on the brush and just ran it very quickly under my eyes. That seems to have stopped the settling from happening, which is good. Now that it has set down, it does look a little bit more smooth than it did when I first applied it, which is nice. It's still not giving me that spandex sort of smoothing look, but it is a nice, smooth, hydrated look under my eyes. So I'm going to say that looks good to start off the day. We will wear this all day. I will come back tonight and we'll see how this one ends up. 10:38 p.m. That puts us right around the 8-hour mark. Let's take a look at how the Eye Bright from Makeup Revolution held up. Ignore the fact that this eyeliner is transferring everywhere. It is the Wonder Wing from Rimmel, which I will never use again. Concealer, though. Also, let's never mind the fact that the e.l.f. Lash It Loud mascara transferred all over my under eye. Also never using this one again. But the concealer, you know, I think it has lost a little bit of coverage, but nothing's cakey. Nothing looks or feels dry. Nothing is crepey. It looks really nice. I could get used to this. I think it's a really nice hydrating formula, and nothing really moved around. I think I lost some coverage. Other than that, let's zoom in and take a look. So ignoring everything else that's a hot mess on my face, my lines are still visible, and a little bit more of the purple of my under eyes is coming through now that we're toward the end of the day, but none of my lines look crepey. None of my skin looks dry. Even where it was clinging to dry skin, it doesn't look any more dry than it was. In fact, I think it might look a little better than it did. So I would say this is probably a fairly hydrating formula. If you have dry under eyes, especially like I do, I feel like I'm probably more hydrated now than I was when I started. And that's pretty significant because not very many concealers do that on me. Still don't think we're getting that Spanx level of smoothing that the Charlotte Tilbury gives, but if I had to give a grade to the Revolution Eye Bright for dry and maturing skin, I think I have to give this an A. It's not like the best top A ever. I don't get as much smoothing, which is something I really enjoy. But it is way up there on hydration for dry skin. And that is also very important. I like this. I do wish it did not have a sponge tip. I think they're gross. I wish it just stick with the usual. Like whoever decided in Makeup Revolution that they wanted to dupe out the Charlotte Tilbury, you would think they would have went through the reviews on the Charlotte Tilbury, because almost universally the whole world seems to not like the sponge tip and the way the packaging. So I know they want to dupe it in a sense of making it recognizable, but you would think that they would not do the things that people have already made very clear that they don't like. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm going to give this one an A. I really didn't think we were going to end up here, but it held up so well and it's so hydrating that I kind of feel like I have to. I also kind of feel like I have got to wipe this eyeliner off my face because it's driving me crazy. Ah, it's so gross. It's so bad. Bad, bad, bad. Not good. Anyway, another episode of Concealer Fest is in the books. If you enjoy concealer reviews, if you'd like me to make more of them, give me a thumbs up down below. I do have a Concealer Fest ranked, sortable, searchable spreadsheet, just like the foundation one. Of course, I don't have as many reviews on it because I've only been keeping the concealer review spreadsheet for about a year now, but there's 20 some odd concealers on there, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It will grow as I add more concealer reviews. I don't have, for example, the Charlotte Tilbury reviewed on there because I started using it years before I started that spreadsheet, so I've never done an official proper format of a review of that concealer. So same deal with a lot of my favorite concealers because they were my favorites long before I started the spreadsheet. But eventually I would like to go back and do formal reviews of some of my favorites. So if you want to see some oldies but goodies, let me know in the comments down below which ones you would like to see. And as always, thanks a lot for taking some time out of your day to geek out over makeup with me. Come back every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern time for new videos. I appreciate your time and I hope you guys all have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.